concise and informative.
A very wonderful morning to you and welcome to the News Machine, the hottest news magazine show on radio, and we are reaching you from our Hot FM stations in Lagos on 93.3 FM, Hot FM Abuja 98.3 FM, and Hot FM Owerri 99.5 FM, 7 a.m. to 7:15 a.m. Monday to Friday. I am Victor Eze. This morning on the News Machine, here are some top headlines. No room for violent protest, IGP warns. DSS police responsible for hiking fuel price, says Ipman president. Still in the headlines, helicopter crashes into Lagos building. And Senate condemns attempts to twist let the poor breathe comment. The News Machine will be back after this message.
Now you can get your news on. Hot, fresh, exciting, and exclusive. The News Machine.
Reaching you at the same time in Lagos, Abuja, and Owerri. 3 states for the price of 1. Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7:15 a.m.
The News Machine. More than just news.
Hot FM.
We are more than just radio.
Welcome back to the News Machine. A helicopter crashed into a building and burst into flames at the Oba Akron area of Ikeja, Lagos State, southwest Nigeria, on Tuesday, 1st of August 2023. The incident happened near an AP filling station and United Bank for Africa branch at Oba Akron area of the city. According to eyewitnesses, the incident happened at about 3:30 p.m. local time. Rescue operations was affected by first emergency responders. Men of the Lagos Fire and Rescue Service said no life was lost and 4 people were rescued. The News Machine got in touch with the head of public education, Lagos State Fire Service, Mr. Amodu Shakiru.
Had 4 men crew on board, 2 Nigerians and 2 white foreigners who are lucky to have cheated, but the helicopter is actually of a private firm which is on a training routine before it crashed into an old communication post on the road. So, and then it resulted into flame, but it was quickly quelled as our fire station from Ikeja at Mobalaki Bonkantoni, which is a stone throw from that scene, rushed down to join the escort crew of that helicopter pilot. Every evacuation has been done and the operation exercise has been concluded. As I said, only 4 victims recorded and then no casualty of any death whatsoever.
That was the head of public education, Lagos State Fire Service, Mr. Amodu Shakiru. Ahead of the national protest action called by the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC), the Acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has warned against violent protests that may be occasioned by hoodlums taking advantage. He said the warning was due to the previous ugly experiences of such protests in major cosmopolitan cities in the country. The force's public relations officer, ACP Muyiwa Adejobi, made this known in a statement. The IGP ordered the commissioners of police in charge of various commands and supervisory assistant inspector general of police to engage in fruitful discussions with the NLC and the TUC leadership to foster understanding and reach common grounds on the planned protest. The Presidential Tribunal sitting in Abuja has reserved judgment on the petition filed by the People's Democratic Party candidate PDP Atiku Abubakar on the February 25 presidential election. Atiku is challenging the declaration of President Bola Tinubu as the winner of the election. Respondents in the suit are the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the All Progressives Congress (APC). The tribunal, after adopting the party's final written addresses, reserved judgment to a date to be communicated to the parties in the case. The Nigerian Senate has expressed worry over what it described as deliberate attempts to twist happenings during plenary. The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio raised the alarm in reaction to a viral video online which surfaced last week, where lawmakers were debating a motion on the need to stop a planned increase in electricity tariff. In the video, Godswill Akpabio and some lawmakers were seen laughing while adopting an additional prayer to the motion which sought to let the poor breathe. However, the Senate President insisted that the federal lawmakers feel the pains Nigerians are suffering and would love to do more for them.
A true reflection of the feelings of most members of these hallowed chambers. We believe strongly that we must continue to identify with our constituents that sent us here. But we must also advise the press that when we discuss issues like this, they should know that we are part and parcel of the society. We should not be misquoted. Because I recall the last time that the Senate got very concerned and worried about the issue of impending fuel electricity tariff hike. There was a proposal to increase the cost of electricity. And so there was a motion here on the floor that we should advise that the tariff should be suspended. And then one of our colleagues in his own contribution also amended one of the prayers to say that yes, the suspension will be in order because it's important to allow the poor people to breathe. And then we said yes. As a presiding officer, the overwhelming majority of the senators cannot say poor people should breathe. Then I will say they should not breathe. And then somebody misinterpreted us. Oh, that they were mocking.
Senate President Akpabio further appealed to the press and the general public not to misquote the Senate in the way and manner it conducts proceedings. He made these remarks during a debate on the motion on the urgent need to avert the intended strike of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC), sponsored by Senator representing Kano South, Kawu Abdulrahman.
The Labour movement, in a statement signed by its national president, accused the federal government of failing to meet up with the demand it presented to it following the removal of the subsidy on petrol, which caused an astronomical rise in the pump price of the commodity. Disturbs that the strike will cripple the country as movement will be severely curtailed as commercial transport operators will draw their services, while market, schools and healthcare service facility will be forced to shut down.
The Senate had mandated the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and the entire leadership of the upper chamber to interface between the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the federal government to avert the intending strike. Now it's time to get the trending stories from our News Machine studios at OFM 98.3 Abuja. Let's hook up with Abuja Report.
Good morning. And our Senate on Tuesday listed 14 remaining ministerial nominees for screening and confirmation as earlier requested by President Bola Tinubu. Amongst those listed for Tuesday's screening were the former governor of Ebonyi State and the Deputy Senate leader, Senator David Umahi, and his Kaduna State counterpart, Nasir El-Rufai. President Tinubu had on Thursday, July 28, 2023, forwarded a list of 28 ministerial nominees to the Apex Legislative Chamber, asking it to confirm the nominees for appointment as ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Consequently, the Senate commenced the exercise on Monday and screened 14 of the nominees, with 14 of them facing the lawmakers on Tuesday. The pending 14 nominees who lined up on Tuesday were David Umahi, Adebayo Olawale Edun, Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, Ahmed Musa Dengiwa, Chief Uche Jeffrey Nnaji, Stella Eruogene Okotete, and Dele Alake. Others were Adekola Adebayo, Adelabu, Mohammed Idris, Professor Ali Pate, Doris Anita Uzoka, Latif Fagbemi, Honorable Ekperikpe Ekpo, and Barrister Hanatu Musawa. Organized labor has expressed doubt on the sincerity of the interventions President Bola Tinubu rolled out in his national broadcast in Nigeria to cushion the effect of his administration's policies. The labor vowed to proceed with its planned protest over the removal of petroleum subsidy, saying what he told the Nigerians was neither here nor there, considering that after spending 2 months in office, there was no concrete measures to bring immediate succor to the people. Tinubu had in his podcast said his administration was monitoring the effects of the exchange rate and inflation on gasoline prices, with a pledge to intervene if and when necessary. But addressing the reporters after the resumed meeting of the Presidential Steering Committee on Palliatives held at the State House, Abuja, the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Joe Ajero, said the plan for workers to proceed on a peaceful protest from tomorrow had not changed. Ajero, who dismissed fears that the peaceful protest could be hijacked by hoodlums, said that he had never happened in a history of workers' protest. He, however, said it was the responsibility of security agencies to provide security for the protest to protect workers. He expressed doubt about President Tinubu's ability to control inflation and gasoline prices due to the unification of the exchange rate. And that's all from the News Machine studio, Hot FM Abuja. I am Tonye Kokodia. Over to Lagos.
Alright then, let's link up with the News Machine studio at FM 99.5 Owerri for the trending news happening in the southeastern part of the country.
Good morning and welcome to our News Machine studios at Hot FM Owerri. Seriki Hausa in Imo State, Awal Bab Suleiman, has debunked the speculated attempt by the state government to evacuate some northerners from the state. Some sections of the popular Hausa community market, Hassan Market in Avu, Owerri West local council of the state, were at the weekend engulfed by fire, damaging goods and shops worth millions of naira. The fire incident triggered speculation that it was a calculated attempt by the agents of the state government to force them to leave the market and possibly relocate to their states. But speaking in Owerri to newsmen, the traditional calm spiritual leader insisted that the speculation was the handiwork of mischief makers who want to truncate the existing peace and harmony enjoyed by northerners in the state. The Seriki Imo also used the opportunity to appreciate the state governor, Senator Hope Uzodinma, for sponsoring 200 Muslims resident in the state to the 2023 Hajj in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. The Nigerian Army says troops of 82 Division, the Nigeria Police and security agencies have successfully raided hideouts and training camps belonging to IPOB and ESN in Osomogu Forest, spanning Anambra and Imo states. Brigadier General Onyema Nwachuku, who is the director, Army Public Relations, in a statement on Tuesday said the troops were alerted about the violent activities of IPOB and ESN in Onitsha, Nnewi and Iheme Obosi in Anambra State, as well as New Market in Enugu State. According to the statement, during the operations, the troops cleared IPOB camps in Ekotutu, Osomogu, Lilu, and Mother Valley camps of the dissidents. Abia State Governor Alex Oti has said residents of the state cannot afford to stay at home for 2 weeks in compliance with the directive issued by a faction of the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB, led by Simon Ekpa. He spoke on the sideline of a security meeting convened by the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu and attended by the governors of the southeast states, Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu and Imo, to address the issue of insecurity in the region. Oti said only a handful of people were benefiting from the sit-at-home order, using the instrument of fear to intimidate the people, and as such, government cannot sit and watch them succeed. That's all from our News Machine studios at Hot FM Owerri. Back to our studios in Lagos for the rest of the news. I am Ifeyunwa Nwana.
You're still listening to the News Machine, reaching you from our Hot FM stations in Lagos, Abuja and Owerri, 7 a.m. to 7:15 a.m., Monday to Friday. Let's hear what correspondent Nesta Sunny has for us on Voices in the News.
Senate President Godswill Akpabio hailing President Tinubu on removal of petrol subsidy.
I want to plead with you, distinguished senators, to permit me to offer special commendations to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces for the bold step he has so far taken, particularly in the issue of subsidy. If it requires legislative backing, we shall give. We must begin to produce our own fuel in Nigeria. We must begin to encourage production of diesel and others in this country. And of course, if the stories so far are true, that we used to have 69 million barrels a month, and we are now having about 13 or 15 million barrels. That will show that we were subsidizing all the consumption going on in our neighboring countries, with which we can no longer continue with our very lean resources. So we applaud the federal government for such steps.
And moving to the foreign scene, the European Union (EU) has condemned the arrest by Niger's new junta of ministers from the ousted government and demanded their immediate release. EU's foreign policy chief, Joseph Borrell, revealed that the EU denounces the continued arrest of ministers and senior officials of President Mohamed Bazoum's government by the putschists in Niger. Niger Republic is one of the poorest countries in the world, despite its uranium resources, plagued by attacks from groups linked to the Islamic State, ISIS, and Al-Qaeda. It is the third country in the region to suffer a coup since 2020 after Mali and Burkina Faso. Remember, you can listen to more episodes of The News Machine and watch videos of news stories online at artfm.ng. And that's a wrap on today's edition of The News Machine. Do well to have a beautiful day.